All right, it is time for us to find out what Keck's idea was from yesterday. As I'm reading today, I want you thinking about a passionate interpretation that you could say about this book. So, something beautiful about the story, a reason you adore this book, an unforgettable moment so far, something incredible that happens, or one of the lasting images that you're going to carry on with yourself, or years from now you'll remember what about the story. I'm going to ask you to make one of these at the end, so be thinking about that as I'm reading today. Right, this chapter is called An Idea. A few minutes later, I race back to the barn, stumbling in the stubborn snow. Dave and Lou follow. Lou has on a thick red coat and a hat with a fuzzy ball on top. Ganwar is still leaning against Gull. Your cousin has an idea, says Dave. It's a typo. My grin is so big it hurts. You can help with me here, I exclaim. Helping with the farm. All is quiet. Ganwar looks doubtful. He doesn't say yes, but he doesn't say no either. I don't have much cash, Lou says. You'd have to split the pay I promised Keck. But come spring, I sell organic veggies and flowers at the farmer's market, and you could help with that. She pauses. Assuming that is, I hang on to this old place. Ganwar looks at me hard. I can't take your charity. But I'm taking yours, I say. You're sharing your home with me. I don't know anything about farming, Ganwar says. I don't either. Ganwar turns to Lou and holds out his hurt arm. What about this? He asks. His voice is soft, but his words are shouting. We all look at Lou. Lou shrugs. Guess you'll have to use the other one, she says. For some reason, this makes Ganwar smile. He slowly nods. He glances at Dave. Can you come back later? He asks. We have dung to shovel. I laugh. It's much harder here, I warn him. Everything freezes, even that. Gull moos softly, as if she's sorry to make work for us. Dave shakes my hand, then Lou's, then Ganwar's. Folks, this is great, he says. Ganwar, don't let Lou down, buddy. He won't, Lou says. She winks. Dave and Lou leave us in the cold barn. I look around me. It's not a great herd I see, dotting the grass, like clouds in a vast green sky. It's just a tired flock of scrawny chickens and a cow with ribs trying to hide behind her muddy coat. But for a moment, as Ganwar and I hum one of the old songs, we are where we belong in the world. Field trip. The next week, my ESL class takes a field trip to the zoo. Field trip is another English trick, like raining cats and dogs, and a barrel of laughs. Because there is no field, and it's not a far trip like the one I took from Africa. We take a yellow bus. When we get to the zoo, we must stand in line to get our tickets. The other kids complain, but I am used to lines. One day in the refugee camp, I stood in line for 9 hours to get a handful of corn. At last, a guiding lady walks us past birds and lizards, fish and butterflies, zebras and elephants. We're looking for animals from our homelands. I see gazelles standing on a low hill beyond a fence. I remember such animals bounding through tall grass, riding the air like wingless birds. I wonder, how did they come to be here in this strange cold world? They flick their tails and check the horizon for danger. They're safe here, but they don't know it. We visit the petting zoo with its animals for touching, who will not eat your hand. There are goats and chickens and pigs, a llama and a turkey, but no cows. We are supposed to be watching the animals, but I can't stop looking at the people looking at all the animals. A class of little children laugh at the pigs rolling happily in cold mud. Their class looks like our class, or maybe we look like them. Many colors and shapes and words. Of all the things I didn't know about America, this is the most amazing. I didn't know there would be so many tribes from all over the world. How could I have imagined the way they walk through the world, side by side, without fear, all free to gaze at the same sky with the same hopes? What would my father have said to see such a thing? My brother? What will my mother say? I walk behind my classmates to the next exhibit, but I am not alone. My family is with me, and every sight is something they cannot see, and every hope is something they cannot feel. To carry them, unseen as wind, is a heavy burden. The question. All afternoon my belly aches. Maybe I should have eaten more, I tell myself, but I know the hurt of hunger well. Hunger is a wild dog, gnawing on a dry bone, mad with impatience, but hoping still. It isn't hunger I feel today. This pain is worse, one without pity, like an icy night. This pain is a question, the one my heart will not stop asking. Why am I here when so many others are not? Why should I have a desk and a pair of fine jeans and a soft place for my head to rest? Why should I have the freedom to hope while my brother and father sleep in bloodied earth? I should not take these gifts I do not deserve, and yet I know I will take them. Warm food and soft bed and fresh hope, holding on tight as that wild dog to his bone. Apple. Before ESL, we have homeroom. I don't like it. In my homeroom are only 3 other ESL students, and I don't speak their words. All the rest are from America. One morning, a folded paper waits on my homeroom desk. I think maybe it's a note to pass. I've seen other students hand paper to each other during the loud man in the wall named announcements. It's exciting to think I might already have a homeroom friend. When I open it, I see a picture. It's not a good drawing, but after a moment, I can see it's a dead body made of bones. Hungry, Kenya? A boy in the back asks. His voice has knives in it. He holds up a half-eaten apple. None for me, thank you, I say, using my polite English words. And my home, I add, is not Kenya. It's Sudan. He tosses the apple across the room. It lands on my desk and drops to the floor. My homeroom teacher looks up from his newspaper. Can the flying fruit, he says. Of course, I don't want the apple to be wasted. I pick it up off the floor and throw it back to the boy. It hits him on the nose. I'm a fine thrower of rocks and balls. It is not my fault the boy moved. The teacher gives me a detention slip. I'm not sure what this slip means, but I do know I'm the only one in class who receives one. I feel very lucky to be selected by my teacher for such an honor. Little misunderstanding there, right? And a little bit of unfairness about why Keck is the one in trouble for that. All right, the time has come. I want you to make a passionate interpretation about the book so far. So use one of these stems and make a passionate interpretation of your thoughts on Home of the Brave so far.